Alright, today I wanted to talk about longhouses and some sundrinesses between men and women. Before I get into it, I should say I don't have any science to back up what I'm saying. These are only my thoughts and feelings on the topic. So, what is a longhouse? Well, most often when people talk about longhouses, they're talking about the Viking longhouses, which was a great hall where people gathered and feasted, kind of like the hall in Beowulf. But I'm not going to be talking about the Viking halls of your lore, but instead I'm going to be talking about the word longhouse that comes up in some internet dialects, and it has a slightly different meaning than the historical longhouse. A Viking longhouse would be a big building where a whole village could get together, men and women and children. They could eat and feast together and tell tales to each other. So it's kind of a community center, emphasis on the community. On the internet, this word has come to mean an environment where resources are shared, there is little to no privacy, there is a low tolerance for risk. Women would be socially dominant in spaces that are longhouses. Everything would be shared. You wouldn't have private or personal possessions. Everything is held in common. So it went from this concrete instance of a longhouse, like a Viking longhouse, to being more abstract and universal. Like, there are environments that could be longhouse environments that are not a literal Viking longhouse, like a church or a school or a single mother household. These could all be said to have longhouse features. This word can also be a verb or a deed word in English, longhoused or longhousing. For Bisson, if a young lad were gaming on his reckoner and his mom came into his room and told him to get off the web and go to bed, you could say that he is being longhoused, or that his mom is longhousing him. He is in an environment where women are dominant and pressuring him to conform to their standards of behavior. So that's the kind of longhouse I'm talking about. Now, in regards to the sundrinesses between man and woman, I would like to put forward that women thrive in longhouse environments, but men do not. My reasoning for this is as follows. Men and women are not the same. The average woman is more valuable than the average man in many ways. Owing to their beauty, they are thought to be more pleasant to be around. They often have better social skills than men. When it comes down to the raw biology or life lore, women have far fewer eggs than men have seed, so that makes them more valuable than men for making offspring. So in a relatively equal environment, like a longhouse environment, the average woman is going to be in a higher social position than the average man. So owing to these things, I think women are going to fare better in longhouses than men will. Now, men, on the other hand, are less equal and less average than women in all of their features and abilities. Men have a wider bell curve than women, so you get more genius men and also really dumb men. Men tend to be more autistic than women on average and focus on their special interest and become good. They specialize in something. Whereas women are more likely to be kind of average good at everything. Because of these differences between men and women, I would put forward that rather than being in a longhouse environment, men would thrive best in a hierarchy, or a wheeled ladder in English. Obviously, it would need to be a just hierarchy that benefits those at the bottom as well as at the top. But I think men perform best when the chain of command is explicit and their role in the hierarchy is explicit, so that the burden of social performance is lifted and they can focus on their autistic specialization. Again, this only works if everyone else on the wheeled ladder is on the same team and pulling their own weight in the same direction as everyone else. So to go over it again, longhouses are environments that are more equal, resources are shared, there's lower privacy, there's lower risk tolerance, women are more socially dominant, while hierarchies or wheeled ladders greatly lower the social burden in a group and allow individuals to specialize and focus on their particular thing instead of the whole group. And therefore, men would thrive better in a hierarchy. Now, with all of that said, it seems to me like the broader mainstream society is becoming a longhouse. With social media, or self-broadcasting in English, being so widespread, people are over-socialized, kind of the same way it would be if you crammed a whole village into one small building. It has become swith hard for someone to become a homeowner. Instead of getting their own private space, rentoids are kind of sharing housing with each other. There is very little tolerance for risk. Like if you go to the sick house, the leeches there will pressure you to buy their goods and services to cure your ills instead of letting your body fight off your sickness. And there are very few wheeled ladders that men can be part of where they're not taken advantage of or abused. If you look at most of the Thedish Harfolk or national militaries throughout the world, they're mostly up to no good. Most of the time they are not fighting on behalf of the countries they came from, but instead are fighting on behalf of a handful of wealthy folks who call no place home. And even outside of the Harfolk, most big businesses men can work for are run less like wheeled ladders and more like longhouses. Anyway, this is likely starting to sound like a lot of whinging by now, so I'll go ahead and stop it here. Thanks for watching.